Hey, welcome everybody to the Nation. That's Barbecue Nation. I'm JT, along with my Hall of Famer radio wife, Leanne Whippen, coming to you she's from Tampa. I'm from Portland. And there you go. And it's a pleasure to be with you today. We'd like to thank the folks over at Painted Hills Natural Beef the way nature intended. You can check them out online at paintedhillsnaturalbeef.com. Live and direct from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, we've got Brooke and Brad. It's actually technically now it's Brooke Lewis and Brad Orson, but they're Brooke and Brad from the shed. Okay.
Do you know how long I thought they were husband and wife?
You're not the only one. Yeah.
And it's still every now and then it happens. I mean, we've been business partners for 24 years, with the shed. So every now and then it still happens, and we just laugh it off and say, we're not from that part of the country. We are from Mississippi, but not that part of Mississippi.
That's Arkansas talk there. You know what I mean? That's
never know.
All joking, all joking.
Yeah. So Brad, I really been ever since we met 3 years ago now. I've had this question I never got to ask you. Why did you really get into dumpster diving?
Well, I mean, everything in the dumpster is free. And I've always collected stuff from the time I was a kid all the way until now that I'm a bigger, older kid. But I thrive on collecting items and then putting them together years and years later. And I've found if it's available right now, you might need it in the future. So I've started honing in my techniques with the shed, and now we have a campground next to the shed called the Cozy Rosie. So now I'm looking for like electrical supplies and plumbing, where it used to be just license plates.
So you're a hoarder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
A selective hoarder.
That's right. I'm getting pickier and pickier. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Brooke.
He's a hoarder of large items, yes, which is great versus a hoarder of knickknacks. He has his fair share of knickknacks, but sure, it's more like massive sheets of corrugated tin and old wood floors out of buildings and barns. And so and we have used so much to build the shed.
Now, the latest find, I got like 300 mirror balls. So for my birthday a couple weeks ago, we threw a disco ball, mirror ball party, and nobody's going to forget that one.
They probably still can't see.
Just little specks of light.
Were you doing the Saturday Night Fever stuff or what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We did that multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple days.
I'm glad everything's normal then. If for the folks listening, and I don't know why they wouldn't know this, but Brad and Brooke have a establishment. I'm going to let them explain it more in a minute, but establishment called The Shed down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. This is something, and the joke or the story about the dumpster diving is really what instigated the shed happening. So I'm going to let them explain the rest of that there. But when Brad was in college, he took up dumpster diving, and we just heard all the explanations of that, because I'm kind of a hoarder too. I got crap all over the place. But when you were doing it, did you ever think about, someday I'm going to build this really cool jazz and blues bar and put have some pits out there and do that? Or was that kind of a through osmosis and built mentally before you did it?
That's a good question. My junior year of college, we built and ran a pizzeria, and my senior year, we built and ran a sushi bar. So for the first, since I was 15, I've always worked in restaurants, and it's just part of me. So it was a natural progression to open my own barbecue joint or my own restaurant. And I went to the bank and asked them for a $300,000 loan, and I was going to open a seafood and barbecue joint. And he very nicely said, "Well, how are you going to pay the money back?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to give myself a job." And so they said no.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, and barbecue. You know, my mom and dad are heavily involved in the world of barbecue and cooking for large quantities of people. So barbecue is really sounds weird, but it was my easiest route into owning what we call the shed barbecue today. Was, you know, low and slow cooking. We use pecan wood, which is readily available all around almost every yard in South Mississippi. So we started going for it. We started on $2,500
Yeah.
23 years
Wow.
ago.
And I will say it is it is the tried and true American dream story, because Brad and I, brother, sister, I was 19 and Brad was 24 when we opened the shed. And we were literally on a shoestring budget without the shoestring. So Brad asked, we had all Brad's dumpster diving extraordinaire stuff. And he asked our grandmother, which we affectionately called G-Ma, if he could borrow one of her credit cards, and it had a $3,000 limit. Our parents wanted to kill that we had asked to borrow it, and of course we paid her back immediately. But we used that to buy literally the nuts and bolts, because we had a wood floor out of an old Baptist church, and so corrugated tin and these license tags and tacky chandeliers, and that's where just the organic shed style junkadelic came from, was of course his dumpster diving. But we also needed some good solid nuts. We bought it and ran down to Walmart and grabbed some brisket and some pork butts, and two kids didn't know what we were doing, so there were a lot of guinea pigs in our lives. Taste this, taste that, and that's how this shed was born.
It's very funny. Your story is extremely similar to mine. I went to the bank, asked for a large loan. They did give me 10,000 SBA. I was like, whoop-de-doo, right? So I wanted to buy my first trailer, and I put it on my credit card. That is how it started. It started in debt, and I didn't have any money. And it's very similar. It's funny how things happen, right?
Yes.
I'll tell you, there's a good story about the day before we were going to open. So I get a call from this lady, and she says, "Do you have the record collection for sale?" And we just checked the bank accounts. There was no money, so we didn't have the money to buy the meat that we needed to open the next day. We already had the sign up out front that said "honk if you're hungry," and I say, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Well, I'm on my way. I had 3,000 records and so $3,000. And my senior year in college, we had found a record collection in the attic of an old house. And these are promotional records. She showed up. She paid $3,000 for those records. And I said, she was like shaking like a leaf. And I had this huge wad of money. So I'm like, all right, boom, the shed's born. And I said, well, when you sell one of these records, call me and let me know, what you sold them for. Because it was like the entire radio play right outside of Memphis. And the owner of the house was the owner of the radio station. So it was all the Elvis, Sun Records, you name it. We got the shed started. She called me about 2 months later, and she sold one of the records for $10,000.
Oh my God.
But now think about this. We've been in business for 23 years, and we've done over 100 million in sales. So out of the dumpster and those records is really what was the spark that allowed us to go fill up the shopping carts and buy the pork and beef that we needed. It's crazy.
It was meant to be, meant to be.
Yeah, and Elvis is walking around with his fried banana sandwich going, way to go, Brad. Way to go, Brad.
Good job, son.
That's right. That's why we go to Memphis in May every year, to celebrate Elvis and win those big trophies.
There you go.
I love that. That's a great story. You said your folks at that time, who were lovely people, had been involved in barbecue, but had you and Brooke ever actually cooked anything?
Well, and
No.
all right. And at that time, I mean, when we talked about opening up the they weren't in that barbecue world. And what we were referring to and Brad was referring to is we've always been in a world of foodies. Our parents always cooked. Both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side, 3 generations up, were either in the hospitality industry or in grocery industry and meat cutters on both sides. And we're 5th generation entrepreneurs. So there was a lot of that was just naturally, genetically instilled in our bodies, even when we didn't realize it. So they were a huge force pushing us to once they got over that we were going to build a 330 square foot to go barbecue joint
on their property
with our grandmother's credit card and no money. And we had a goal. Now we had our goal every day was to sell $100.
That was our break-even point.
Yes, in barbecue. And but once they started to see that things were progressing in a wonderful way and organically in the way they should, and we were working hard, they just continued to push us. And that's where Mama Shed started doing the marketing, even though she refused to cash paychecks. She was doing it out of the love of her own heart. And of course, Daddy-O, our saucer, just always tried to make sure we didn't do anything stupid.
Yep.
As young kids in the entrepreneurial world. And we told people we were going to open. They made sure that
we were open.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, I got a music question for you, Brad. When you talk about Brooke was talking about your dad, did you ever use Bernie Ledden's song called The Journey of the Sorcerer? Not the Saucerer, but I thought it would.
No, but I'm writing it down now.
It's a cool sound. It was actually part of the soundtrack to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was one of the old early Eagles albums that they had some time to fill, and he was just farting around in the studio one day and came up with that, and it's a great soundtrack. Anyway, little trivia there for you.
We're doing it right now.
We got it. And we can talk about the blues too. I'll tell you, that's part of the Shed's success.
That's our thing. We do blues.
Well, we're going to talk about that when we come back. Brooke, Brad, Leanne, and I will be back on Barbecue Nation right after this. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the nation. We're on all the social media platforms. You can follow Leanne, you can follow me, you can follow the show, you can follow Brooke and Brad. We're out there. So instead of listing them all, which is about an hour's worth of time, just go to.
Is that Mama in the back? Do I see Mama peeking her head around?
No. Come here.
I saw little eyes back there.
Look, Leanne, I don't have any makeup on. How am I expecting to sell my nude calendars next year if anybody sees me without my makeup?
Well, stick a foot out there. Stick a foot out there.
She did.
There you go.
Okay.
There she is. Hi. Hi. Let's talk about the music a little bit. Were you really into music in college? I mean, I started out as a DJ in college, so I'm kind of still into the music thing for a long ways. But music can really make or break a restaurant and bar.
Oh yeah, we've spent in 23 years. We spent way over $1 million in free music. So. I went to Ole Miss, which is right outside of Memphis, and we used to drive on Sundays to a little juke joint on Highway 4 that Junior Kimbrough, it's called Junior Kimbrough's Juke Joint, and we would go watch R.L. Burnside. You pay it was 50 cents to get it, or it was $1 to get in the door. If you gave him a $5 bill, he'd give you a pint of moonshine. On the way out, if you gave him the jar back, he'd give you a 50-cent piece. So it was a total racket, and that's really where I cut my teeth in the blues, and that's called the Hill Country Blues. So that was a big, big, big thing, and still is. But we brought that was like liquor-laden party, barbecues out back, smoking all night long, and the whole point was they didn't have barbecue on Saturday night. They had it at like 5 and 6 in the morning on Sunday. So if you made it through the entire night, you got to eat, and they didn't charge for it. So that's really where I fell in love with the blues, and I wanted to open a juke joint or something like that, and a barbecue joint, but I wanted it to be a family atmosphere. So that's why our music is from 5 and 6 o'clock at night till 9 or 10. So we don't burn the midnight oil. Well, if we do, we go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's a family food drinkery, and our little brother,
Yeah.
we call it, or my little brother,
The middle child.
The middle child.
sibling.
he has the only nonprofit record label on the globe called Space Flight Records. And he's in Austin, Texas, and he lived in New Orleans when we first got open. So he would bring the heat when it came to booking all of this live entertainment. And there's three things that make people smile really easy, and one of them's beer, one of them's barbecue, and the other one is the blues.
Right.
So that's what I love to see people smile. Smiling is the best mental health that you can possibly get. And so we pick three things that'll make people smile. And if they don't like it, we hope they don't tell anybody.
So, Brooke, how much influence do you have on the music, or were you more on the food side when you started, or were you kind of everything when the food started, or when the restaurant opened? I mean,
our family, because the shed as it's grown over the years, we're on 30 acres now. We're like a little barbecue compound. And as it's grown, all of our family has been involved at one point or time. So our family dynamics basically work as, Brad came up with the idea. I make sure we make money. So I'm the bean counter. Brett, the middle sibling, books all the music. Our mom does all the marketing. And our dad, with all of his entrepreneurship knowledge, makes sure we don't do anything stupid. So that's kind of the family dynamics of the shed, and how the shed has grown and morphed into this international brand that it is today.
that sounds similar to one of my experiences in my life. My brother's a baker, and he would look out for the stupid stuff for me.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. Let's talk a little bit about your actual barbecue. What would you call it? Would you call it your own style? Is it a eclectic mixture, or was it mostly based on Memphis stuff?
I think really it's based on Mississippi stuff.
Okay.
We are definitely a traditional Southern tomato-based, heavy brown sugar barbecue sauce. And we do have other sauces that we have put into our repertoire from literally supply and demand of, all of these. We all know barbecue is so regionalized, right? Your mustard base, your vinegar based sauces, your dry rubs, your wet rubs. And over the years, we added more and more to our flavor profile for people because we have so many people that travel through. And so our Carolina guys come through, and we offer a vinegar-based sauce
or
mustard-based sauce. But I think that what we serve at the shed every day is that Southern tomato-based brown sugar. We have about 16 different spices in the sauce, and it is what I feel you would expect in South Mississippi.
And my mom grew up in Tampa, around in Leanne's area, and my dad was born in Dodge City, Kansas. So, we got some Midwestern in the family, we got some Florida in the family, and we landed here in Mississippi. We serve all our plates with a couple pickles and a slice of onion, a mayonnaise and sour cream based potato salad, my dad's coleslaw recipe, my mom's macaroni salad recipe, my GMO's beans, of course. And one interesting thing amongst the debauchery we call the shed is we've never changed the menu. We have the same thing on the menu for years. We don't have specials. it is what it is. We print it on a 1-page paper, and that's it. You get what you got. And we've tried, put a gold-plated steak on the menu for $5, and people will come in and say, I came to eat the sandwich that Guy ate on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And people know us, for the barbecue.
Sure.
And it's fun. And Southern Living magazine just named us best barbecue joint in the state. So
That's
Mississippi
awesome.
has
Congratulations.
a lot of
Yeah.
barbecue joints, and it's
Absolutely.
nice to be recognized for just keeping it old school.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're going to take another break. We're going to be back with Brad and Brooke and Brad from the Shed in Mississippi, right here on The Nation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Nation. I'm JT, along with Ms. Whippen, my radio wife and co-conspirator in a lot of things. We'd like to again thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef the way nature intended. And also, Leanne, go for it.
Oh, pig powder.
Yes.
My dad's dry rub that my sister and I are now selling at pigpowder.com. Winner of best rub on the planet. And I used it in competition, won many awards. And there are teams out there now winning grand champions with it.
Are you still sending autograph pictures also?
No, I'm not.
So, who's doing Brad, are you the pit master? Who's doing the pit stuff?
So I was a pit master, or I guess the only person in the kitchen for about the first 6 months. And we hired a man named Hobson Cherry, and he was the fine dining chef, and he worked at the fine dining place that was open during the evenings. So he was looking for an early morning job, and he would come in the morning and be out of there by 10 o'clock. And and one day he came to me and said, Brad, you can't be out front all day long and in the pit all night long. It's not going to work. So you should let me be the pit master. I'll quit my other job. And we made a deal. And still 23 years later, Hobson is still our senior pit master.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah. And
Scott and Andy.
the Scott Zink, a fellow Kansas boy. He or man, not a boy anymore. He is an integral part in keeping our barbecue relevant. We used to cook everything on pans, and he started cooking everything on the rack because he thought it flavor, better penetration. Because the pecan wood, it doesn't impart a real heavy smoke flavor. It's more of a sweet. And he started cooking everything on just straight on the racks. And he is our lead pit master in the day. We have another guy named Andy. He's amazing. But it's hardcore. There's no doubt. And I get in the kitchen every once in a while, but I'm really there to, tell jokes and drink beer.
That's a great job if you can get it, man.
Hell yeah, I made it myself. I designed it for me.
Oh, would you say you're known more for the music, the barbecue, or the combination thereof? When people haven't been in yet, do they come in and go, I'm here for that brisket sandwich or whatever's on the menu? I've never seen your menu, but they do that, and then the music starts and they just kind of stick around and hang? Or what's the reaction to the normal, if there is a normal person that goes into a barbecue joint, what's their reaction?
When you walk into the shed, number one, it's like, a big fort. Like the kids would build a fort. Well, this big kid built a big old fort. We call it the shed. So we have a gravel floor. We have thousands and thousands of dollar bills hanging from the ceilings, and rope lights and tags, license plates from all around the world, and antiques and different oddities. So there's a undescribable shock and amazement that if your first time at the shed, you're thinking like, wow, this place doesn't even have a floor in it. Of course, the kitchen does. But I think it's the experience, true ingredients. We buy the best pork that we can buy, the best beef that we can buy. We use all natural ingredients for all of our sauces and all of our rubs. And we actually care. But we're creating smiles and we're creating experiences. And up, thank goodness. So I don't think I could pick which one is better.
I think it's a combination. So we've always talked about, when the shed is absolutely a destination location. And when people get there, when our shed heads, confused by shithead, when our shed heads come in from across the country, we're able to, between the smells of the barbecue, the taste of the food, the sounds of the blues, the smiles that we're creating, we're able to touch all 5 senses. And I feel like that is really the formula that has made the shed what it is, and made the shed a place that is again, destination location that people will drive way out of their way to get to, even though we are very convenient because we're located 1,000 yards off I-10. So everybody heading east to west, whether they're heading to Disney World, Florida, or New Orleans, we're right there off the interstate. But it's a daily occurrence that we'll have people say that they came through Mississippi to eat at the shed because it's that full, like, embodied experience, because they're getting everything. And we're animal friendly and we have enough room for the kids to play and the dogs to run around. So
Cool. Do
Yeah.
you still add stuff to the decor? Are you still snooping?
Oh yeah, every day. I was a little bit late today because the back of my truck is completely full of some stuff I found on my parents' street. And hey, the reason why you got to pick it up when you see it is because you're gonna need it later. I have all the time people will say, "Man, how'd you pull that off?" And they don't realize that I may have gotten one piece of that puzzle 5 years ago, and I got another one 6 months ago, and I found that final piece. So it looks like I can just create magic, but it's because I take the time. I am shameless. I will dig through somebody's garbage out in front of their house. I will wave at them and say thank you. I will dig through a dumpster. I am not scared to go get some free stuff. Actually, when I leave here today, I'm going up about an hour away from here, and I've got a guy that wants to give me a bunch of stuff. So we're going to go get a trailer load of free stuff.
God.
Brooke loves it when I do that too.
It's
You can
like
tell.
treasure hunting too, kind of.
It is.
Treasure
It is.
hunting.
I used to argue with it, and I would say, Brad, we've got enough. There's stuff stored everywhere. We have a warehouse full of stuff. Just stop. And then I would catch myself, saying, well, we need to do this, or we need to build a little fence around here. And Brad would have all the supplies to do it. We wouldn't have to go to the store, and it would be eclectic enough to fit into our concept. And so I now I just keep my mouth shut because I know there's going to be a project we are going to need at the shed or the campground, the Cozy Rosie, or our co-packing facility, the Saucery, and Brad's going to have the answer.
Now I will say this. If I go on vacation, which is, not that often, I come back and Brooke has thrown half my shit away. Okay. It's like redecorate. I'm like, well, where'd that go? And where'd that go? And I already know. I'm like, so when I leave, I know something is going to get, but we have people in the shed every day. So it may be an antique of their grandfathers that they'll bring to the shed because they know I don't sell things. It's going to be there when they get back. And that's another thing that resonates with everybody that comes to the shed is it's not ours, it's theirs. They created
That's
that.
cool.
And
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. What do you think's you know it's not what you think, but what's the number one item that goes out the door from the shed as far as food? Is it brisket? Is it ribs? Is it the sauces? What is it?
It is absolutely the pulled pork sandwich.
100% winner.
As Texas is to beef, Mississippi is to pork. And we do sell a lot of brisket, hand pulled and traditionally Texas sliced, but it's the pulled pork sandwich. And we won Best Sandwich in America on Regis and Kelly years ago with our pork sandwich. So I feel like that really pushed it as well. But
that was also when Guy came down, we were on the second season of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and he had a pork sandwich. He had the baby back ribs with GMOS beans and our Mamma Mia's mac salad. And people still to this day, and that's the great thing about radio, TV, is when people hear it, they think it happened today or yesterday, even though some of those segments were, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It keeps it relevant, and we love that. They'll say, "Oh, we saw you guys on Man vs. Food last week, or Food Paradise, or whatever it may be." But we just keep doing the same thing, and we show up to work every day. And even when we're not there, we're still doing something when it comes to the businesses. And hey, as long as people are smiling, I like it.
What do you do?
You're always doing a lot of events down there. What upcoming events do you have?
Well, we just finished Hogs for the Cause this year. It was our first year participating. So our team raised $27,000 for children with terminal illnesses. And what Hogs for the Cause does is they build houses. So they provide housing to families. We raised $27,000. And collectively, with the 90 plus teams that were there, raised $4.3 million.
Wow.
Excellent.
So got done with Hogs. Now we're getting ready to.
We did some hardware there too.
Oh, we did. We did.
Yeah, we had third place in the pork free category and 10th overall and 10th in hog.
That's great. That's
we also came home with hardware. So it's for a wonderful cause, pediatric brain cancer. And that's the reason everybody's there. But secondly, we're all in the competitive world, as you guys know so well. So you can't do that without having some sort of competition.
Just before that, in January, we have we call it the Shed Steak Showdown, and we host about 150 teams, give out $25,000 in prize money. It's really the first SCA event of the year, the Steak Cookers Association. So it's a great chance for, number one, it's a big family reunion, and everybody's invited. We've got it up on their website, and the bragging rights are huge. We have the winners of each category cook at the award ceremony against a celebrity chef. So it's super, it's fun. That's third week in January. Got done with Hogs. Now we're already in May, and hoping to go win the big grand championship trophy for a third time. I feel like it's ours to go get, and our team has this.
I had the pleasure of judging you all at Memphis in May for the finals, one of the years that you won, and I was just filled with joy because you could tell the passion that came out from the whole entire crew. It was amazing.
Absolutely. We're going to take one more quick break and be back with Brooke and Brad and Leanne right after this. Welcome back to the nation. We want to thank the Oregon Crab Commission on my side of the country out here. If you've never had Oregon Dungeness crab, you should try it. It's very good. Leanne blew a gasket over it last fall when she was up here. So
I did. It was amazing.
It's all good. But we're talking with Brad and Brooke from the Shed down in Mississippi, world-renowned barbecue joint. And they're just so much fun. These two, I tell you, we had a little fun with them over in Fort Worth a couple of years ago, and I still remember that. So it was all good. What's your favorite part about the business?
The people
going home. No,
Well,
it's the
people.
smiles.
It's the people.
I'll tell you my favorite part. All right. My absolute favorite part is when I see like a 6-year-old kid out there watching an old blues guy on the stage. They're dancing around. Their parents are having some fun. They're all eating barbecue. They got sauce all over their face. But that's my favorite part is seeing a child get it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about it.
Yeah.
Is just, when people come in and they're like, man, this is like, this place is, amazing, or whatever word it may be, the joy that other people are experiencing, that's what warms my heart.
Yeah.
For sure.
Brooke, how about you?
I couldn't have said it any better.
I was going to say, that's a hard one to beat.
Yeah, it is.
is.
It is.
It is. It's the people. It's the next generation and getting them excited to come to a place like the Shed, to a barbecue and blues joint. And it really is. That's what we love. I mean, we utilize the stage as the Shed as our stage, our platform to have fundraisers, to give back to the community as much as we can, but also a huge barbecue playground for people to come out, try to get rid of all the stresses of the day, and just purely enjoy themselves.
Hang out, watch the
So
sunshine.
you guys have a lot of kids just between the two of you. I think 6, 7. I've lost count at this point. Do you want them to become involved, or are you just going to let them? If it happens, it happens.
They are crazy involved. I've got 5 boys. Brooke has a boy and a girl, and they're out there. They get it. They're barefoot running around. And they're like, I brought my children to Memphis May last year, and started helping. How much they'll be involved with the business once they get older, I have no idea. They're going to be on their own path. But I'm setting them up to where they'll be able to do whatever they want. They want to help us. Cool. They want to, we're adding some campsites to our campground, and Asa, the middle boy on mine, he's out there. He wanted to learn how to do the plumbing with us. So he's in the pool. The other kids are out running around. But having the time and the ability to spend with the kids, whether I'm at work or I'm able to go to their soccer game or whatever it may be, owning your own business is hard, but it also can give you the opportunity to spend more time with family. So,
Absolutely.
And I don't know, Brooke. I think Brooke's kids are so famous now. Good mom.
I don't know about that. Mine just want to go to the playground when we get to the Shed. That's all they're worried about. I will say Brad and Kiki's 5 boys are very versatile in so many things. I mean, they know how to drive tractors, the Bobcat, the forklifts, and my 2 sweet babies, Stella's 7, Bobby and I's children. Stella's 7 and Finn is 5. And when they come to the Shed, they're worried about the candy, the hog washes, and the playground. They do love a pork sandwich, and I do love that. I'll say, "What do you guys want to eat tonight?" And when they say, "Can we eat the Shed?" I just immediately start glowing. I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, thanks for loving it."
So, Brad, one of the pressing questions is really, and I know you've probably been asked this before. How did you come up with those hats you wear?
I'll tell you.
Sunburn?
Yeah, I get sunburned. Like, I can just walk out of the house and I'm completely sunburned. But 20 plus years ago, I was still single, and we won a cruise. All right. And well, this was even longer than that. This is like our first year open. We won a cruise from Cisco Food Service. And so they sent us on this cruise, and on the way, walking up the platform to get onto this cruise ship, I found a hat like this. And I put it on, and I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody on that ship recognized the guy in the hat. And I realized that was my mark. It was doing me a favor when it came to my skin and my sunburns. And it's recognizable. And now I'll go to the grocery store, right? I'll see my mom and say, "Hey, Brad." "Hey, Mom." I give her a big hug, and she'll say, "Where's your hat?" So it's become more trademark before,
Yeah.
it's more famous than the person wearing it. But it's fun. I wore it to a big award ceremony the other night, and I wear it with any color suit, you name it.
Indoor or outdoor. The award ceremony was it's the Cubbies, and we have it every year here on the coast, and it's where 600 to 700 hospitality and restaurant industry people are gathered together to celebrate each other. It is phenomenal. Coast Observer started it years ago, 20 years ago. And so it's at night inside the Hard Rock Casino ballroom, and he's got the hat on with a 7-piece suit. Because if he didn't wear it, people would say, "Where's the hat?" It's definitely become a trademark. And we sell them online. Brad, we give away more than we sell because we love to see people with the hat on. But we do sell them, and they've become quite the demand. The Brad hat.
Well, now look around at just the barbecue world. You see different brands on the straw hats, and I can't say that was my idea, but I can say I was wearing it first.
There you go. So where can people that aren't in Mississippi, what's the website and stuff that they can go to if they're going to plan a trip and want to stop by? Where can they find out all the info?
Multiple sources. So we are across the board at The Shed BBQ on all social platforms. We really push Instagram, our Facebook. We're growing on TikTok. So you can catch all of the events and the weekend concerts there. And then, of course, our website, theshedbbq.com, where you can order. We ship out barbecue 7 days a week.
Yep.
All year long. So whether you go to the Shed's website or you go to goldbelly.com, you can order, and tomorrow you will have 4 or 5 racks of ribs sitting on your front porch ready to eat.
We also sell during the holidays, well, I guess all year, but we do hams and turkeys. We do some Valentine's. Just about every holiday, we have some sort of special. Mother's Day is coming up. That goldbelly.com is the easiest way to get fed at the Shed at your house.
I love that. That's great.
You touched on the campgrounds. How many how many campers can you have at one time?
We've got right at 100 sites. We've got 4 or 5 cabins, lots of primitive camping. We've got some glamping tents. And but we've got 30 acres, 4,000 feet on the water on a Fort Bayou. We're right across the bayou from a wildlife refuge, so there's bald eagles flying around and kids fishing. So if you're on your way down to the Shed, send us an email. The campground is called the Cozy Rosie.
I love it. I love it.
Right next to the Shed.
All right, we're going to get out of here for the regular show, but Brad and Brooke are going to stick around for after hours, and we're going to torment them some more with some very irreverent and sometimes very personal questions. But Brad and Brooke, thank you for being with us on Barbecue Nation. Okay, we're going to get out of here. Don't forget our motto, turn it, don't burn it. Until next week, take care and have some fun, everybody. Hey, everybody, welcome to After Hours here on Barbecue Nation. JT, Leanne, Brad, and Brooke from the Shed. And this is their time to shine here. This ought to be kind of interesting.
I say entertaining, not
I would say it's going to be very, very entertaining too. So and both of you take a turn at answering these questions. So there's no wrong answers. All right. So if you could cook for and then dine with a historical figure, who would it be and what would be on the menu?
I'd say Robin Williams.
Oh, that's good.
Yep. And I think we do some lamb chops.
There you go. There you go.
He's one of the funniest people that ever walked the face of the earth.
He
Never
is.
got to meet him, but if I had to pick, that'd be my guy.
Yeah. Brooke?
That is so difficult.
It stumps a lot of people. You're not the only one.
I would say Abraham Lincoln, because he was very strong figure, obviously president, of trying to unite people, human beings, people.
Right.
So I would say President Abraham Lincoln, and we would have ribs. Ribs are always the good go-to.
Sure.
But that is the first historical that popped in my brain from him trying to unite human beings.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Do you remember the first thing you got in trouble for as a kid?
Yes.
Yeah, I hadn't been out of trouble since I was like 3.
I remember this. So our parents, the campground that Brad and I, the Cozy Rosie, own today, our parents owned that from 1986 to 2006. We just recently purchased it back. It was a KOA franchise. There was a grocery store. That was Brad and I's first job, parking campers and facing everything in the grocery store. And I decided, I was very young, that I was going to steal a Reese's Pieces cup. And let me tell you something. I have never stolen anything again in my entire life. And I was in a lot of trouble. And my dad explained how hard he worked to be able to buy the Reese's cup, to sell it, to feed us. So I've not stolen anything else in my life. But yes, I was in a heap of trouble.
So I remember the first substantial trouble that I got in. I'm sure there was other instances, but it's a funny one. So when this is back to the campground in the early days, my dad said that he would give us a penny for every cigarette butt that we would pick up.
Half a cent.
Half a cent for every. I may have got paid more than Brooke. So it was a half a cent per cigarette butt, because the owners, when they bought the park, it was just back in the day, there's thousands and thousands of cigarette butts everywhere. So I wanted to buy a car, and I picked up cigarette butts for a whole summer. Well, one day I picked up a prolific amount of cigarette butts, and you had to dump them out, count them all out, and then show my dad, and he'd have them. And I had like a bunch of them. And he said, "Well, Brad, how'd you pick up all those ashes?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You've been over there dumping out people's cigarette butts, ashtrays, haven't you?"
Oh.
And I said, "Yeah." And I had went around to every camper and dumped their whole thing into my bucket.
Oh.
And that was the last time, or that was the first time that I got in substantial trouble. But I did end up buying a vehicle that summer with money that I had earned picking up cigarette butts.
And in the 80s, everybody smoked. It was, it was the early 80s, so there were a lot out there.
Oh yeah. So if
we could do a whole segment on the amount of trouble that I've been in.
Yeah, maybe you and I should just get together and work out the segment before we actually record it, because
I'm saying we might need to,
yeah, we might need to do that. So if Leanne declared each of you supreme ruler of barbecue for one day, what would you, as supreme ruler, decree? What would your decree be?
Let's see. Well, that is a good one. I would say, man, I mean, that's rough.
I would create a day that everyone in the barbecue world, whatever facet that is, I'm a backyard cook, I'm a competitor, I'm a caterer, I own a barbecue restaurant, we would all be forced to join together to just love on one each other and share our stories and share our successes and our failures to learn from each other. And it would be a day.
There you
go.
What
would you decree? Man, I'd make everybody throw their watches away. We'd have some morning beers. It doesn't have to be 5 o'clock somewhere. It can be whatever time you want.
No. What's been the absolute best day of your life so far?
That's another good one. Man.
Is this just in life or is this in our
Yeah.
barbecue?
No, anything, everything you do. What's the best out of your whole library of life?
Yeah, the day I got out of prison.
Did
No,
did you,
I did.
did
Knock on wood.
I was going to say, did you write a country song with that or something? You know?
It could have.
Yeah.
I would say my first child, Stella, when she was born. And that was 7 years ago.
And
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go selfish on this one, even though kids are fun. But I was at Mike Mills, and we were helping teach a whole hog class up there called the Whole Hog Extravaganza years and years ago. And we were up there in his attic and looking at all Mike Mills trophies and all of Apple City Barbecue's trophies. And I asked Mike one day, I said, Mike, what are all these shirts here? And he said, well, those are all my championship shirts that every time we won a big trophy, I would keep that shirt. And I said, well, can I have one? And he said, no, you can't have one of those. Those are my championship shirts. He said, but you can have this one. And he took his shirt off and gave it to me.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And then he grabbed one of his championship shirts off of the rack and put it on. And as far as barbecue goes, that I still have that shirt at my house. That's Mike Mills' shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
pretty good.
That's absolutely.
That shirt was all sweaty and stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, thanks, Mike. He said it's already dirty.
What's your least favorite activity to do?
Pumping out the grease trap.
That's a good one.
I
Yeah.
did that yesterday morning. Yeah.
Yeah. That's evil.
Yeah, no doubt.
Least favorite. Taxes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
a
other
good
evil.
show.
That's the other
Yes,
evil.
Taxes, which D-Day was just here. We just got
Yeah.
that done.
Okay, Brad, I think you'll like this one. I know Brooke will, but what is something your spouse was right about, but you still think they were wrong?
so I have an interesting scenario. My wife's maiden name is Wright. So I married Miss Always Right. And even though she's not always right, she is still Miss Always Right.
Right. Yeah. I get that. Brooke?
Goodness.
Pray that you work too much. You're like, yeah, you're right.
He does say that a lot. My husband is so wonderful about trying to keep me grounded to water, boats, the earth, and not work so hard. And he is right. A lot of times when he says you got to chill out and just take a day.
Yeah.
But he's read a lot with cooking also. I mean, I don't admit to very many people, but he's a far better cook than I am. And when we both get over the grill, the smoker, the kitchen, there's been a lot of, you're right, that I've had to say over the years, but
Yep.
I'll only admit this on this show. I'll never say that.
All right. So, if you could master a musical instrument instantly, just boom, what would it be?
Ukulele.
The microphone.
The microphone. Okay.
No, I'm telling you, I want to be the front man in a band one day, but I can't really sing. So what I have mastered about the music is being the host. So I'm an excellent host, and I got a couple friends, and we started a band, and it's the band name is 2 Men and a Forklift and One Dumbass. And what we do is we let the crowd pick who the dumbass for the day is.
There you go.
Revolving scenario.
If you're gonna be a front man, though, you got to have like a scarf that, like a Steven Tyler or Meatloaf,
Right.
one of those guys, that you can. That's part of the shtick. You got to do that.
Like it.
Okay. Um, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Man, that's a real one. I'd be an eagle because they fly high and they can hunt.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Brooke is an animal.
No idea what kind of animals would want to. I mean, you know, birds, obviously, the ability to fly and migrate whenever you don't like a place, you can easily migrate. I would
Yeah.
consider having,
There
I would
it
have
is.
Yeah.
to say a bird
Yeah.
as well.
Okay. Boxers, briefs, or thongs?
None of the above.
None.
Thongs, earmuffs on him, though. I don't want to hear that. A commando. Boxers, brief, thongs or commando.
Commando. Yeah.
Commando. Okay. Okay. Um, we won't do that one there. That one's a little much. Name one book that should be mandatory reading for everybody.
Man, that's a good one. The Joy of Cooking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best recipe book series ever.
It's funny. I was going through my cookbooks yesterday, and that is tried and true. One of my favorite books.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's 10 different recipes for everything. So if I had to categorize it, I would say a recipe book, but specifically The Joy of Cooking.
Yeah.
I would probably have to say the Flavor Bible. So
that is a good one.
It's literally a book. There are some recipes, but what it teaches you is how to create the formula of any recipe in the world that has the right acidity level, the right heat level, the right fats, and so regardless of what you use, if it's blueberries and ketchup and a lemon, it's creating the right formula to appease the taste buds. It's called the Flavor Bible, and it breaks it down to having the right amount of everything you need to make something taste good.
What's one thing you miss about your time in college or school?
Let's see. My parents were paying for it. I miss the checks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's probably the one that I miss the most. And I had this old Jeep, and I loved this old Jeep. Had nice big tires on it, and I sold it a little bit after college, and I wish I could have that back. And I think that's probably everybody has their favorite car, and I still own a dozen Jeeps today, but that, getting that original one back, I do miss the freedom of just letting it fly.
Yeah.
I think school in general, whether it's high school, college. We opened the shed when I was in college, and then I was in my second year, and then I went straight into Shedology 101. But I would say the freedom of the fact that reality and career and hard work has not quite hit you yet.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're in school, it's coming. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do in life, but you're still innocent to the fact of how damn hard it's going to be. And that part, I would say everybody can say they miss.
Yeah, mine hit me 2 days after I graduated from college.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom! I was like, "Oh shit!" Okay. What is your favorite classic movie, if you have one? And I always give you the example. Mine is Casablanca with Bogart. So,
Dirty Dancing.
Oh, that's a good one.
There you go.
Good one.
That's a good one.
That's my jam.
I mean, that is a good one.
That's my jam.
Oh, movies. Oh man, there's so many good. I mean, anything that Robin Williams was in.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the creator of comedy. And it'd be hard to pick which one
London
But I'll
Hellfire.
tell you another one. I'll tell you another one that I love. It's not Robin Williams, but it's the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. So
Yeah.
great.
That was filmed about 60 miles from my house here. So
Really?
yeah,
Cool.
it was great. Only a couple more here because I don't want to keep you too long. What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
I smile at myself in the mirror.
That's a true story. That's a
Every
true
morning.
statement.
Before I pick my phone up, before I take a glass of water, before I do anything, I always look at myself and smile. And then I may like mumble something like, "Get up, stupid," or
Yeah.
something like, "You got stuff to do. You're burning daylight." But generally, a smile gets the day started.
Well, in the mornings, with 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, Bobby and I, we have snuggle time. We always snuggle with kids before we have to face the day.
Yeah.
That's
And I make my bed. And I just recently started that. I say recently, as in the last couple of years. I feel like people that get up and make their bed have immediately accomplished something for the day. And I've read many articles about the fact that if you get up and make your bed, it changes your mindset.
It does.
And if you have a really and the thing is if you had a really crappy day at work, you come home to a bed that's made and ready for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love that.
Yep, absolutely. What's the worst thing you've ever eaten? Absolute bar none. Terrible, rotten, never look at it again. What would that be?
I still look at them, but if you've ever had an oyster that was bad,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it is absolutely, that's one food that if you taste it and it's bad, you spit it out immediately.
Yeah.
I am an oyster connoisseur, but I have had an experience that definitely never want to go back there again.
I understand completely.
I'll tell you, the worst thing that smells the worst when it comes to rotten is a rotten potato. That is
pretty bad.
the grossest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just got the chills.
Yeah, they'll be on the counter, like hiding behind the bread or something. You're like, what is that?
Yeah.
So it kind of the same thing. It's not something that I ate that I don't like that I would never eat again for what it is. But I had the first time I ever had sea urchin. I didn't realize that it was bad. It had gone bad. It was not fresh. And I swore off sea urchin for the rest of my life. And then I was in Chelsea Market probably 7 or 8 years ago and in New York, and I had fresh sea urchin.
Where they're cracking them open.
Pulled it out of the bucket.
Yeah.
Cracked it open, and I ate it, and it changed my life. And it's probably one of my favorite things when you know it's fresh. But for years, I mean, it ruined me to where I didn't even read it on the menu.
Yeah.
But I had it fresh, and
Wow.
it changed everything.
Leanne, you were going to say something?
No, I was just, it's terrible that she had that experience because in all those years she didn't have what she loves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay, last question, guys. What would your meal be? What would your last meal be if you were on death row?
Case of beer. I'm just saying, plenty of carbs. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Right? A Bloody Mary.
A Bloody Mary. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. Yeah.
Actually, that may be my answer. Come to think about it, I was trying to think of all these things that I love to eat.
So like this big stuffed Bloody Mary with like fried chicken and a lobster hanging out. Okay.
Yeah.
For Bloody Mary, it's a full meal, and then I would need 7 or 8 shots of vodka in it. It was my last meal ever.
Yeah, who gives a shit at that point? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but there is one thing I just remembered. My grandma used to make this garbanzo bean soup. The best Spanish sausage and the broth, and she served it with Cuban bread.
Cuban sandwich.
Cuban sandwiches.
Yep.
They're in Tampa, and dip that sandwich in there, and oh man, she always made it in these huge pots.
Grandma
Yes.
Betty Rose. We
Yep.
named Cozy Rosie after Grandma Betty Rose.
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
awesome.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
guys, you guys have been terrific and very generous with your time, and Leanne and I want to thank you. Well, Leanne
Yes,
can thank you
you.
herself,
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely. Fantastic.
it's
catching up.
good. We've got Brad and Brooke from the shed here on After Hours, and if you didn't catch the regular show, it's available, of course, and this has been a lot of fun. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, y'all. Look forward
Nope.
to the next time.
We'll
Thank you
do
so
it. We'll
much.
do it. We will be back next week with another edition of After Hours. Until then, like I say on the other show, turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.